Tonight on CTV News, BC First Nations tell an MP to chillax.
I appreciate the attempt at humor, but the truth is that this is a very serious concern for many people in British Columbia.
Why he's raising concerns about land acknowledgements and the cheeky response that's gone viral.
This was reckless and dangerous, and Abby's death was entirely unnecessary.
Sentencing for a drunk driver who killed a young woman in Burnaby. Her mother's campaign to prevent more senseless deaths. Remorse and regret. A man accused in a stabbing death outside Starbucks apologizes. What he says led to his action.
This is CTV News with Mi Jung Lee.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. Some First Nations on Vancouver Island have been making headlines all day for their cheeky response to a post from their Member of Parliament. It involves some Gen Z slang, a BC court ruling, and California's governor. Our Penny Daflos explains.
From major provincial events like the throne speech,
on the unceded territory, traditional territory of the Lekwungen-speaking people,
to the daily business of City Hall,
on the traditional territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh,
and professional sports.
Our Vancouver Canucks will play on the unceded and traditional territories.
Land acknowledgements have become a common practice most people don't think twice about. Documentary filmmaker turned MP Aaron Gunn feels differently, suggesting the federal government stop in order to uphold private property rights. The next day, First Nations in his Vancouver Island riding responded with a cheeky statement, mocking him for crashing out and urging him to chillax, bud.
I think he is playing on the fears that are out there. I think he actually knows better. So an unserious statement we thought would be better met with an unserious response.
Inspired in part by California's governor, who regularly mocks America's president by imitating his bombastic social media style.
It is a novel strategy and a fascinating example of how being a little more restrained in a response and injecting humor and chiding and mockery and all these things is also humanizing.
The Gen Z slang has ensured the response has gone viral, including the true message that
nobody's coming for your private property and so forth.
In a moment where everything feels zero-sum and everything feels on the edge, simply taking a deep breath and realizing that actually we can still laugh about it. We can still talk about it together.
I appreciate the attempt at humor, but the truth is that this is a very serious concern for many people in British Columbia.
Private property rights have been a political hot potato since the landmark Cowichan decision in BC Supreme Court recognizing Aboriginal title over a section of Richmond.
I think you have to get back to treating people as Canadians, irrespective of their race, of their identity, whether they're Indigenous or non-Indigenous, treating a Canadian like a Canadian.
Land acknowledgements are the baby step of all baby steps of reconciliation, really harmless gesture to show respect.
Penny Daflos, CTV News, Vancouver.
More fallout from the Cowichan Tribes case, sparking concern about private property rights. Real estate appraisers are adding special language to deal with the ongoing uncertainty. CTV's Rob Buffum explains.
Uncertainty over private property rights in the province has caused property appraisers to change their approach.
How is the potential of a land claim having an impact on value? Well, we just don't know.
Industry experts say since the controversial Cowichan Tribes case that found Aboriginal titles senior to private property, it's become industry standard to include language limiting an appraiser's liability.
The limiting condition effectively gives you an out on an unknown issue or an unquantifiable issue.
Many increasingly inserting language noting the assessed value is made with the assumption that there are no First Nations claims of any kind impacting the subject property.
Nobody should worry that their home is going to be taken by the local nation. Chiefs and councils are clear. The BC government, we're clear.
We need some clarity. We need a path forward here for private property in this province because people are scared.
The Premier has promised changes to the NDP's landmark DRIPA laws, the Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples Act. Amendments that would provide certainty and prevent what EB has labeled overreach by the courts. Those changes have yet to materialize.
We need some clarity around UNDRIP and DRIPA.
Where is his legislation to clean up his mess?
The NDP have pointed to a lack of treaties in BC causing the uncertainty, and the Premier emphasizes the importance of negotiations.
It's not a new issue in the province of British Columbia. It's an issue that needs to be dealt with. We have been very clear. Our bright line is we will protect private property.
For now, those tasked with assessing the value of private property are taking matters into their own hands, protecting their own liability, until more clarity on this issue emerges.
And Rob Buffum joins us live from Victoria. Rob, what else is the appraisal industry saying tonight about this trend?
Well, Mijung, about an hour ago, I was told that the Appraisal Institute of Canada is working on recommended language that they will provide to appraisers in BC. The BC chapter tells me that they expect that language could be ready as early as tomorrow. As for that legislation to amend DRIPA, today, as you know, is the last day before a 2-week spring break here in the legislature. So if it doesn't come in April or May, we will have to wait until the fall for that. Mijung.
Rob Buffum reporting live tonight from Victoria. To breaking news now, the Coquihalla Highway is shut down southbound at this hour after a blast of winter wreaked havoc on the highway. Lauren Pullen joins us in the Breaking News Center. Lauren, you spoke with some drivers who just traveled that route. What are they saying?
Mijung, it is an absolute mess out there. Drivers telling me the highway is like a skating rink tonight. Video from the Coquihalla summit shows several semis jackknifed on parts of the highway or stuck in the ditch altogether. The Coquihalla is shut down southbound between Hope and Merritt, and that happened just before 4 p.m. We've also reached out to paramedics to see if there are any injuries. We are waiting to hear back on that tonight. As for the highway reopening, no timeline at this point. Drive BC saying their next update will be at 8 p.m. Meech.
Yeah, it looks like a mess out there. Thank you, Lauren. The man accused of fatally stabbing Paul Schmidt outside a Starbucks in downtown Vancouver 3 years ago addressed the victim's family directly during his trial today. Inderdeep Gosal apologized to them. CTV's Craig Krause has more and a warning about the graphic content.
Paul Schmidt's mother sat across the courtroom from the man accused of stabbing and killing her son as Inderdeep Gosal apologized. The 34-year-old said in part, "I'm sorry for what happened. I hope you know I have a lot of remorse and regret over what happened. I didn't want to hurt him that day, but I also wasn't thinking right. I wasn't on my medications. I wish I could go back in time. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry." The apology comes nearly 3 years to the date that Schmidt was stabbed outside of the downtown Vancouver Starbucks. This is CCTV video of the moments leading up to Schmidt's eventual death. Gosal has pleaded not guilty to second-degree murder, claiming he suffers from psychosis and schizophrenia and was unmedicated the day of the killing and didn't have the mental capacity to understand that his actions would kill him. His lawyer seeking a manslaughter conviction. On Thursday, new details emerged about the case. Gosal had previously told the court that he had never been in a fight prior to the stabbing, but we've now learned that's not true. He was involved in a fight at a SkyTrain station while drunk in March 2015. There were also incidents in 2016 and 2017 where Gosal had interactions with police and was found carrying a knife. And the trial is expected to continue on Tuesday here at BC Supreme Court. Craig Krause, CTV News, Vancouver.
RCMP have made a major seizure of drugs and cash in the Okanagan in an operation they say led to a significant disruption of an organized crime group. Mounties say they seized various kinds of drugs in the bust, including 29 kilos of meth, 18 kilos of cocaine, and 4 kilos of fentanyl. They also found nearly $250,000 in cash. 4 people were arrested and released. No charges have been laid. 80 kilograms of cocaine have been seized from a commercial truck trying to cross the border into Canada. The Canadian Border Services Agency says it happened last month at the Kingsgate crossing south of Cranbrook. A detector dog team helped find the drugs hidden in the truck trailer. The driver was arrested and the investigation is ongoing. New Westminster police have seized $11,000 in counterfeit cash after a man tried to use the fake bills at a Safeway. This morning, police say staff at the store reported a suspicious banknote after comparing it to a real one. During the arrest, police also confiscated drugs. The cash was predominantly in $50s and $100 bills. New West and other municipalities have seen a spike in counterfeit bills, but police say this amount is unusual.
We're not used to seeing this quantity of counterfeit currency, and we're grateful to the staff at the grocery store that were alert enough to recognize, not only recognize that this might be counterfeit currency, but then to call us while the person was still on scene. So this really unfolded thanks to the quick thinking of the staff at the store.
Police are reminding people to always look for fraudulent details such as a raised holographic strip. Crown prosecutors are seeking a 7-year sentence for a man who has pleaded guilty to stabbing a Coquitlam senior to death in 2022. CTV's Martin McMahon has more from BC Supreme Court in New Westminster.
It was a dramatic and emotional day with court hearing victim impact statements and proceedings at one point paused following an outburst from victim Terry Miller's son. This case was ultimately a drug deal gone wrong. In February 2022, 66-year-old Terry Miller accompanied his son Tyler, who was planning to sell $1,500 worth of cocaine to then 21-year-old Jeffrey Stevens. Following some sort of misunderstanding or incidents of paranoia, Stevens stabbed both the father and son. The violent confrontation happened on Schoolhouse Street in Coquitlam. 12 days after he was stabbed multiple times, Miller died in hospital. A second man who was with Stevens was charged with manslaughter, but the charges against him were stayed. Miller's son read a victim impact statement in court today saying, "My best friend and father were taken that day. I watched him die that day, and I dream about it every single night." Last year, Stevens pleaded guilty to manslaughter after he was initially charged with second-degree murder. While the Crown wants a sentence of 7 years, Stevens' defense is calling for half that, or a sentence in the range of 3 to 4 years. Stevens will have to wait a little longer to see what his sentence will be, with this hearing set to resume at a later date. Martin McMahon, CTV News, New Westminster.
The drunk driver who killed a young woman in Burnaby has been sentenced. And with the court process now over, her family says they want the focus to be on Abby Bickle's life and not the senseless way it was cut short. CTV's Dimitra Maragos has the story.
Friends and family of Abby Bickle filled the courtroom today nearly 3 years after her death. Now finally one step closer to closure.
She was brave, she was courageous, she was a trailblazer.
Abby Bickle's mom holding memories of her daughter closely as she walked into court Thursday.
Our lives and everyone who knew her and has been impacted by this will be changed forever.
Abby was killed by a drunk driver in Burnaby back in July of 2023. She was 22 years old.
This was reckless and dangerous, and Abby's death was entirely unnecessary, and all of that came through today in court.
Colton Lockyer pleaded guilty to 1 count of impaired driving causing death, 1 count of impaired driving causing bodily harm, and failing to remain at the scene of an accident at an earlier crash. Lockyer was sentenced to 4.5 years in prison. The court also imposing a 7-year driving ban.
From a procedural justice point of view, I think this is a very good outcome. Of course, from a restorative justice perspective, nothing can bring Abby back.
Bickle says she wants her daughter to be remembered as strong, adventurous, and for always reaching new heights.
Abby doesn't need to be remembered only about how she died, but about how she lived.
Bickle has turned to advocacy, recently starting the Livid podcast, highlighting raw conversations on the lasting impacts of drunk driving.
Our process takes a very long time, and in all of that time, victims are silenced.
While the legal proceedings have come to a close, she says there's more work to be done.
I believe there is a need for some degree of reform, taking a moment to look at this and see if are we really achieving the goals that we're setting out in these kinds of sentences.
Bickle says she's learning every day how to live through her new normal while carrying Abby's legacy. Dimitra Maragos, CTV News, Vancouver.
Following days of hearing from the public, the City of Vancouver has approved the blueprint that will shape the city's future. City Council has approved the city's first ever Vancouver Official Development Plan that will guide future land use and building over the next 30 years. It's mandated by the province, and under new rules, many future rezonings will no longer go to a public hearing. The plan will be reviewed in 2030 and every 5 years after that to respond to specific needs. Vancouver is projected to grow by about 240,000 people by 2050. Vancouver Mayor Ken Sim has provided an update on his legal battle with Councillor Sean Orr. The mayor's office issued a statement to CTV News today saying Sim will not be using any taxpayer dollars in the defamation lawsuit. Orr has turned to GoFundMe to help fund the lawsuit, which stems from a false accusation claiming Orr handed out illegal drugs on Christmas Day. Donors have already contributed more than $32,000 to the online fundraiser. A tiny village on North Vancouver Island may soon no longer be able to call itself a village, thanks to the work of a local grassroots community group.
The outcome that we want to see, we want to join the SRD. We want to have opportunities. We don't want to be taxed at a 42% increase.
The Sayward Taxpayers Alliance wants to abolish the local council and has collected enough signatures to propose the idea to the province. The group says local community spaces are closing due to mismanagement and legal bills are racking up from a dysfunctional council. Sayward's mayor says there is no proof putting decision-making in the hands of the Strathcona Regional District will make anything better. The Taxpayers Alliance says it will deliver its petition to Victoria in the coming weeks. It is 6:15. You're looking at a live shot of a dry downtown Vancouver. A bit gray, but it is still light outside, which I'm quite enjoying. The lighter evenings.
I think a lot of people are, and it was a mostly dry day today. Hope you're able to get outside and enjoy it. More sunshine as we head into tomorrow. Temperatures on the cool side right now. 4 degrees at the Harbour as well as in Burnaby, North Vancouver, and Surrey. You're looking at 3 in Pitt Meadows and in the Valley for Abbotsford and Chilliwack. So as we head through the overnight, we'll see some light rain redevelop, dropping down to 3 degrees. Into tomorrow, slight chance of early morning showers, but for the most part, it'll be a dry day, mostly cloudy skies with some sunny breaks and a high of 7.
CTV Weather brought to you by Expedia Cruises, customizing dream vacations with unbelievable value. Call or learn more at expediacruises.ca.
And a sunny Saturday ahead, so soak it all in because it's going to rain and it's going to pour. I've got those details coming up.
March is one of those months, so you don't know what's going to hit you, right?
You just have to get outside and enjoy it.
Just go with it. All right, thanks, Anne. Toronto synagogues have been shot at, and today a driver rammed into a Michigan synagogue and then opened fire. Also coming up.
There's just a lot of broken hearts, a lot of people still in mourning.
Major changes to the Lapu Lapu Festival just weeks ahead of the event. The priority for organizers, safety and healing. When CTV News at 6 continues. Stay with us. Just shy of the 1-year anniversary of the devastating attack at the Vancouver Lapu Lapu Festival, Filipino BC says next month's event will look much different. But as CTV's Michelle Bernaro reports, it comes after calls for the festival to be paused this year.
A festival that began in 2024 as a celebration of the Filipino community turned into a day of horror last April 26. A vehicle plowed into a crowded street of festival goers. Adam Kaiji Low is charged with 11 counts of second-degree murder and 31 counts of attempted murder.
Our hearts are still broken. We're still grieving.
Rowan Hidalgo was at the event just before the tragic events unfolded.
I had to go through a grieving process myself because I didn't, even though I didn't know the victims directly, I was actually there.
Despite opposition, Filipino BC has announced it will hold the event again April 19th, but it will look different. For one, it will be held at the Italian Cultural Center, which is donating the space.
We want to provide an area where people feel safe, secure, and can reflect and have the opportunity to move forward as best they can.
Calling it the Lapu-Lapu Day of Togetherness, Filipino BC says the gathering will include opportunities for reflection and remembrance. Hidalgo originally started this online petition, now with more than 1,000 signatures, asking the event be put on pause for 2026. He is now mostly accepting of the planned activities.
There is, some push to cancel it entirely, but I believe this is a healthy compromise.
Filipino BC says that in shaping this year's event, organizers have considered various perspectives and feedback that have been shared publicly and within the community. Some survivors are calling for a solemn commemoration and demanding financial accountability over donations. Filipino BC says additional details of a memorial gathering taking place later in April will be shared soon. Michelle Brunoro, CTV News, Vancouver.
Police are reminding drivers to hang up and pay attention as a new distracted driving campaign rolls out across the province.
We want people to focus on the road, put their phones away. Distracted driving offenses using an electronic device while driving carries a $368 fine and 4 points.
Officers were out in Surrey today for the enforcement and education campaign in partnership with ICBC. Surrey police say they wrote more than 1,800 distracted driving violation tickets last year. According to ICBC, distracted driving is the second leading cause of fatal car crashes in the province, resulting in the deaths of about 80 people every year. Police in Port Moody say it's fortunate no one was hurt after 2 tires from a dump truck came loose and went flying into traffic on Barnett Highway Wednesday morning. Officers say a bystander's vehicle was hit when the truck's rear wheels and a brake drum became dislodged. The driver was given a ticket, and an inspection of the truck found the lug nuts had not been properly secured. The U.S. signaling the war in Iran could end soon, but there's growing concern it will drag on, given the statement from Iran's new leader. Also ahead.
They're master manipulators. They've done this for a while, and they know who to target.
A Surrey woman has been locked up in a Korean jail for weeks. Her family says she was used as a drug mule after falling victim to a romance scam. That's ahead. The return of the BC Home and Garden Show, a board game convention, and some early St. Patrick's Day festivities provide a little bit of something for everyone this weekend as spring break kicks off. We've got a full list of fun things to check out on our website, ctvnewsvancouver.ca. Iran's new supreme leader made his first public statement since taking his father's place, vowing to avenge Iranian deaths, all while the country is promising to keep the Strait of Hormuz closed. CTV's Heather Wright has more on the dangerous escalation.
An oil tanker off the coast of Iraq bursts into flames, one of 2 vessels attacked overnight, prompting Iraqi officials to close its oil terminals. Iran has claimed responsibility for attacking one of the ships, saying it had disobeyed and ignored warnings. At least 1 person was killed and 37 others rescued. More than a dozen tankers and other vessels have been attacked since this war began nearly 2 weeks ago, with Iran's new supreme leader vowing more disruption in the future. The leverage of blocking the Strait of Hormuz must continue to be used, Ayatollah Mojtaba Khamenei said in a statement that was read on Iranian state TV. He also vowed to avenge all Iranian deaths and open other fronts where the enemy is vulnerable. This is the first known public statement the Ayatollah has made since being named his father's successor on Monday, though he has still not been seen in public. His comments are expected to bring more uncertainty to oil markets, where prices have skyrocketed and concerns this conflict may drag on are growing.
Everyone is pushing their side that it's going to be over quickly, at least from the U.S. Military side of the house. But this is going to be a much longer game than people are realizing, especially if regime change is the ultimate goal.
In Lebanon, Hezbollah and Israel continue to trade fire overnight, with Iran's proxy firing dozens of rockets into northern Israel, while Israel retaliated with heavy bombardment of Beirut and its suburbs. The United Nations estimates as many as 800,000 people have been driven from their homes, many living in tents along Beirut's waterfront. Who is in these tents, this man asks. There are children, elderly people, women. There are fears this conflict will spread even further. Here in Turkey, the foreign minister Hakan Fidan hosted his German counterpart, both calling for an immediate end to this war, while also warning against inciting a civil war in Iran.
Last week, U.S. President Donald Trump said the United States Navy could be used to escort ships through the Strait of Hormuz, something his energy secretary said today was not possible at this time. Heather Wright, CTV News, Istanbul.
In the U.S., there was a massive police presence outside a synagogue after an active shooter attempted to ram a car packed with explosives into the building. It happened earlier today at the Temple Israel Synagogue north of Detroit. The gunman was tackled by security and is now dead, but the FBI remain on high alert. This comes a day after pro-Iranian hackers claimed credit for a cyber attack on Stryker, a Michigan medical technology company. The group claimed it was retaliation for the missile attack on an Iranian school that killed children. And now the FBI warned of a potential drone attack in California and possible Iranian sleepers that could be activated.
Without question, we had intelligence that indicated that Iran was in fact establishing these kinds of cells when I was director of the CIA. So I'm sure they continue to do that.
Counterterrorism teams have been put on high alert with concerns Iran will try to retaliate, especially at places of worship. Foxes are known for being clever, but how did a fox from the UK make it all the way to New York? Also ahead.
They've been there just sitting, rotting away, filled with water.
Derelict, environmental danger. Why are ramshackle boats allowed to pollute our beaches for months? That's ahead. NASA says its first crewed mission to the moon in more than half a century is prepared for takeoff next month.
We are on track for a launch as early as April 1st.
It's not an April Fool's joke. 4 astronauts, including Canadian Jeremy Hansen, are expected to take flight for the moon within the coming weeks. NASA describes the Artemis 2 mission as a crewed lunar flyby, meaning astronauts will travel around the moon and back to Earth over a 10-day journey. Vancouver beaches are being littered, not with everyday trash, but with hunks of junk that have become giant eyesores. We're talking about rusty sailboats that keep washing up and seem to take forever to clear. CTV's Sinjan Alexander has the details.
Hardly a monstrosity, but take a closer look, and what used to be a beauty is now simply unsightly. A pair suddenly washed up about 2 months ago, and what nature hasn't decayed, humans have spoiled.
They've been there just sitting, rotting away, filled with water.
Residents like Neil Thomas wonder when they're ever going to be removed. After all, another just crashed the shore, and then there were 3.
Every time they have a storm, there's always a bunch of sailboats that get loose.
Now this probably sounds familiar. Just over a year ago, on the other side of the bridge.
I think it's been there all summer, at least 2 months.
More boats, more unwanted fixtures. Some have been cleared away, but again, it can take a long time.
It happens every month, you do a walk around and you'll see a new boat.
The culprits are often abandoned, illegally anchored, or may not have been properly maintained. Some are overloaded, and it's not always clear if someone still calls it home. All levels of government play a role, and often 30 days' notice is served on questionable vessels. But storms can send them adrift before the time is up, like this sailboat that traveled all the way from False Creek to Jericho Beach.
It was my grandchildren who saw the boat first and says, "There's a boat, there's a boat."
When approved, a contractor might be hired to remove a vessel, and it's the owner's responsibility to pay for repairs, removal, and pollutants if there are any. That is, if the owner can be found. Now, as for when these latest 3 might be removed, we still don't know. Transport Canada says it needs more time and couldn't make our deadline. Sinjan Alexander, CTV News, Vancouver.
New York City is one of the most popular tourist destinations in the world, but U.S. border officials recently had to get involved with an unexpected visitor from the UK. The Bronx Zoo is currently taking care of this red fox, which was discovered on board a ship that had sailed from Southampton, England. While animals are sometimes trafficked across the ocean, conservation experts confirm this fox made his own way onto the vessel. The fox is probably wondering, why is this ship not letting me out?
Yeah,
it's a long journey.
Just wanted to see Times Square like everybody else does.
Well, foxes are very adaptable, so I think it'll probably adapt to the New York climate just fine.
I'm sure. Smart like a fox. All right, let's take a look at our forecast. Today we saw cloudy skies, and this is how we fared on our almanac today. 7.9 degrees, slightly below the seasonal average of 10.1. Mild overnight at 5.6. And the 12th day of March today, and so far we've seen 39.1 millimeters of rain, still below the seasonal average of 104.1 millimeters of rain. So we are still seeing some unsettled conditions for the south coast, as you can notice on our satellite radar imagery. We do have some light rain across the lower mainland, higher elevations, still seeing that chunky rain snow mix through the overnight, slowly drying, but another round of wet weather moves its way into tomorrow morning. A slight chance of early morning showers for Metro Vancouver and parts of the Fraser Valley. It does dry up, however. We will get a few breaks in there as well. Mostly cloudy skies throughout the afternoon and evening hours. So overnight tonight, we will see a few showers, starting off cloudy tomorrow morning at 8. And then by noon, we'll see mostly cloudy skies with a few breaks by 3 o'clock and partly cloudy skies by 6 o'clock tomorrow night with a temperature at 6 degrees. You'll see a mix of sun and cloud for the central coast and central interior. Your provincial forecast at the bottom of your screen. Early morning mixing for Port Hardy before you see a mix of sun and cloud in 7 degrees. Partly cloudy skies for Campbell River and Comox with highs to 7. For the South Island, everybody will get some peaks of blue sky with the exception of Port Alberni, a mix of sun and cloud and a high of 8. For the Sunshine Coast, 6 degrees under partly cloudy skies. Cloudier up the Sea to Sky Highway for Squamish at 7. Whistler, you'll start off with some flurries. Clears up quite nicely at 3 degrees. And across the lower mainland, a slight chance of early morning showers. Sunny breaks through the afternoon with highs to 7. Into Saturday, it'll be a mostly sunny sky with 8 degrees. Get outside and enjoy it. Rain returns on Sunday afternoon, and it continues for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Thursday, it slowly dries up with a high of 11. CTV weather brought to you by Expedia Cruises for air, land, and sea vacations. Well, the BC Children's Hospital Choices Lottery is back. Your tickets support research breakthroughs that will help conquer childhood illness. Check out these family bonus prizes worth over $50,000. Choose from a $25,000 luxury trip plus $5,000 cash or a $30,000 gift card from Midland Appliance or gas and groceries for a year. Or choose $25,000 cash plus 5 winners of $4,000 in groceries or travel or $3,000 cash. Family bonus deadline midnight Friday. Good luck to everyone. Great prizes for a great cause.
Yeah, so many prizes. So a bit treacherous on the Coquihalla right now, so that's definitely an area to avoid the next little while.
As expected.
All right, thank you, Ann. Well, we've seen gas prices soar since the U.S. attacked Iran, and anyone booking a flight in the near future could be in for sticker shock. Also ahead.
Just said she was detained in South Korea as a drug mule. She thought that she was in love with somebody.
A Surrey woman's nightmare ordeal after falling victim to a romance scam. What authorities found hidden in her luggage and the serious punishment she could face ahead.
Time now for tonight's Skywatch. The bronze statue of Canadian track and field star Harry Jerome in Stanley Park under an overcast sky.
CTV Skywatch is brought to you by Kermac Collision and Autoglass, the name you'll remember when it matters. Kermac cares for kids.
Taking a look at today's markets, the Canadian dollar traded for 73 cents to the American dollar. Oil up $8.48, closing the day at $95.73 a barrel. Gold lost nearly $54 on the day. The TSX was down 279 points, while the Dow Jones was down 739 points. New numbers from Stats Canada show exports of vehicles and auto parts hit a multi-year low. Exports dropped just over 21% to $5.4 billion in January. The numbers have not been that low since September of 2021. Exports of passenger cars and light trucks dropped more than 32% in January, while overall U.S. trade dipped 3.8%. An online romance scam has landed a Surrey woman in a South Korean jail. Her family claims the hearing-impaired woman, described as very trusting, was manipulated and exploited in a romance scam. CTV's Andrew Johnson reports.
The last month and a half for sisters Andrea and Laureen Parks hasn't seemed real ever since they received a stunning 3 a.m. text from their mom.
You're kind of just like in shock. Yeah. You don't know what to do with that information, or if it's true or what's happening, and your whole body's just like overwhelmed.
The message was hard to believe.
Just said she was detained in South Korea as a drug mule. She thought that she was in love with somebody, but I guess not, and she had no idea.
South Korea, drugs, in love? None of it made any sense. In a panic, Spring Park's girls sought out a lawyer in the region who found out where their mom was being held and told them she'd first flown from Vancouver to South Africa, met someone there who gave her the luggage before she flew on to South Korea. That's when authorities discovered 4 kilograms of methamphetamine hidden in the bottom of her bag. Vancouver lawyer Richard Kurland says it appears to be a highly organized plot.
The victim was selected, the contraband was introduced in transit, and the person's paying the price in detention.
The family's legal team believes Spring Parks is the victim of a romance scam, manipulated by someone she met online and fell in love with to unwittingly deliver drugs overseas.
They're master manipulators. They've done this for a while and they know who to target. And it seems to be older women who are vulnerable and lonely.
Her daughters believe Parks made an easy target because she's deaf and very trusting. They suspect she was convinced to keep the relationship and travels a secret. Now she could face years in prison.
They take narcotics seriously. And so the consequence under Korean law appears to be minimum 5 years imprisonment if found guilty. Execution was removed from the table several years ago.
Kurland says it's possible Parks could receive a lesser sentence if it can be proven she's been victimized. She could also be deported. Global Affairs Canada tells CTV News consular officials are providing assistance. Andrea and Laureen are trying to stay positive.
We're just 2 daughters trying to get our mom back.
They are also trying to figure out how to pay for legal bills and the cost of an American Sign Language interpreter. They've already vacated their mom's home and sold off most of her belongings to help raise money, and the family has launched a GoFundMe. Andrew Johnson, CTV News, Vancouver.
Anyone planning to book a flight in coming weeks may see a big jump in prices as the war in the Middle East impacts the cost of jet fuel. Analysts are warning of significant fare increases in the coming months. They say if the cost of jet fuel remains high, prices for an international flight could increase by up to $200. While it's unclear how domestic flights might be impacted, WestJet says rising jet fuel prices have already made operating flights more expensive, while Air Canada and Porter Airlines say it's too early to forecast. After months of rehabilitation, a bald eagle rescued by Squamish firefighters returns to the sky. The video is still ahead. Plus, garage garden. Adam finds out the unexpected love story behind a stone garage with tulips growing on top. Next on the Sawatsky Sign Off. Right now, here's Carrie with a preview of Your Morning Vancouver.
Well, good news for renters with prices dramatically declining. Friday on Your Morning Vancouver, what's driving rents to fall more than 7% according to new data. Plus, Puppy Pitch. We'll welcome a furry friend in studio as we learn how you can help Mounties choose a name for their training dogs. We'll see you in the morning.
The Vancouver Park Board is making sport more accessible for everyone with new on-demand equipment being provided around the city.
As Vancouver prepares to welcome the world for the World Cup, excitement around sport continues to grow. These new lockers offer both residents and visitors easy ways to get moving.
The Park Board launched the new pilot program today in partnership with Equip Sport and Canadian Tire Jumpstart Charities. People can download an app on their phone and get access to the 30 self-serve lockers now installed at parks and public spaces. Vancouver joins Surrey and Ottawa as the only cities in North America with Equip Sport lockers.
They're all free, which is so awesome. You can
love that.
Yeah.
Great idea. Yeah, and I hope people do put the equipment back.
There's a way. They track you on the app. So
yeah,
kind of like
they'll
the
hunt you
scooters and
down
stuff.
if you take the basketball home. Okay, a heartwarming update to share with you this morning. After a bald eagle was badly injured in Squamish last November, following months of rehabilitation, Maple has now flown free.
Go Maple!
And there he goes, back into the wild after nearly 4 months recovering at the Orphaned Wildlife Rehabilitation Society. Maple was badly injured after getting his wing impaled on a branch. He was named Maple because he was rescued on Maple Street. Shortly after taking off into the woods, Maple was once again captured enjoying the great outdoors, perched on a tree branch.
Love the full circle.
I remember when Maple was stuck and they had to do the dramatic rescue.
But recovered fully. He just flew off like nobody's business.
Powerful birds, those eagles. Don't mess with them. Okay, we're going to get to the Sawatsky sign-off in a moment. First, Lauren's here with a look ahead to your late news.
Well, Mijung, we have another pretty incredible wildlife story to share with you tonight. Well, seeing orcas like big killer whales in the Vancouver area isn't all that uncommon. There was an incredibly rare, actually first of its kind, visit from a trio of unknown orcas who hung out in the Burrard Inlet for several days. And while it was a mystery who these whales were, a local wildlife group helped researchers crack that code. We will have more on the unprecedented sightings ahead at 11:30.
Oh, that is cool. Yeah, you don't often see them right in the harbor there.
And they're a brand new kind of orca that we haven't seen in the harbor, so that's pretty cool.
Oh, fascinating. Okay, looking forward to that. Thank you, Lauren. Finally, Adam learns the story of a married couple who turned their home into a one-of-a-kind tourist experience, and one visitor who never left on tonight's Encore Sawatsky sign-off.
Frida will never forget when she was about 10 and started helping her parents transform their home into an international attraction that would change her life forever.
Well, what happened was my dad and mom, they were both creative and industrious.
Although he was a barber, Frida's dad, Andy, was able to do this to the garage and build all that in their backyard before her mom, Marguerite, filled it with flowers.
But it did create a lot of attention.
Tour buses began making regular stops on their quiet suburban street, Frida says, and visitors from around the world started taking pictures of their stone garage with the garden on top.
Which also led them into the house because Dad wanted to share his clocks.
Andy had a collection of 400 antique clocks. He'd offer visitors tours of his display in the basement, and if they hit it off, Marguerite would invite them up for a meal in the dining room.
That's how I met my husband.
What?
He came up for supper, and he stayed for 51 years.
Before he was her husband, Finn was a visiting merchant marine from Norway, and rather than the beauty of their backyard, his eyes were focused on Frida.
Good-looking gal. Drove a 58 Pontiac. Can't get any better.
And after Frida performed accordion for him that night, he asked her out.
They may have been a little bit uneasy when I was dating their daughter, because, sailors don't have the best reputation. But they were lovely people.
And happy Finn was Norwegian, because their family was also the founding members of the Sons of Norway dance group that volunteered at senior centers and veterans hospitals.
And they just seemed to enjoy showing what they had and share it with other people.
Which was exemplified by their garden, which Marguerite kept growing after Andy died, tending to it daily until she died at 96.
She just enjoyed life so much.
Although the property has since sold and the tour bus stops ceased, The stone garage with the garden on top remains. Its legacy of love, family, and community perennially there to inspire. Adam Sawatsky, CTV News, Victoria.
The Sawatsky Sign-Off, brought to you by
CapitalDirect.ca. Let's make your vision a reality with Capital Direct. Call and talk to our team today.
That is quite the project, putting all those stones into the garage.
Stunning. And the flowers on the rooftop. I wish they made it into a heritage site or a park or something to remember that family and all the work they did.
Oh, I know. I think of Butchart Gardens when I see their backyard.
Exactly.
Very, very
Coons.
impressive.
Just put some goats on the roof.
You can still do it on your house, Jen. All right, let's take a look at our scenic snapshot for tonight. A beautiful photo, mostly cloudy skies in Steveston. Thanks, Camilla, for sending the shot in. And we want to see your scenic snapshot, so email us at scenicsnapshot@ctv.ca.
Beautiful. And we can go outside and it'll still be
light out.
Yeah. All right, thanks for joining us. Lauren's back tonight at 11:30.
Good night.